everyone, it's Dom. Yeah, you know that feeling when you have got something up for sale and then everything's been fine for the past year, and then all of a sudden someone decides that they want to buy whatever it is you're selling and things start to go wrong. Well, yeah, that's just typical, and that's pretty much what happened. We've got up for sale a Audi TT Mark II 2007, and it's been perfect for the last year. It's always had you know, everything done for it, so no expense spared. Recently got the timing belt done, water pump changed, it's had a service, so it's, and you know, it's been kept in fairly good nick. Now we put this in Auto Trader, and literally 2 days before the person was going to come and look at it, I took it to my brother-in-law's house and I was showing him the car, and all of a sudden the passenger side window went down and then wouldn't come up, and I tried quite a few things to get the window up and it wouldn't come up. In the end, we held the switch down and pulled on the window, and then it got to the point where you were moving the switch but the window wasn't actually moving, which told me that something had broken inside the door area. So long and short of it was, I pulled off the door panel on the passenger side and found that the cable had snapped that's inside. So looking at the labour charge for this sort of job, I thought, you know what, I'll probably try and attempt this myself. So it was on a Sunday morning, and I rang up Euro Car Parts in Collier's Wood, because that's the only Euro Car Parts branch that was open on Sunday, and they had the part in, and it was a window regulator. So I went down there and bought it. I got it for 60% off as well. So the brand new regulator, it cost me, well, it didn't cost me, but it cost £84, I think it was, and it was usually 130 quid, but it was 60% off. So I ended up buying the regulator and then putting it in, and to be honest, it's not an easy job. It is easy, but it's just very time consuming and a bit fiddly. It took me about 2.5 hours to do, because I was being very wary of the airbag sensor. Anyway, once it had all been done, I was happy, it was all working, and then 2 days later, the engine light comes on the car, and this can only mean one thing, that something's not quite right. So what I ended up doing is I've got a code reader, so we read the code and it came up with camshaft adjuster or some sort of problem over there, and after a bit of googling, it said you need to obviously check the sensors and check everything, the wiring, fuses, etc. So from what I could see, there was nothing really wrong with the fuses, and I couldn't see any problem with the wiring, but I wasn't sure how to check the sensors. So to double check my theory, we got an auto electrician down to come and have a look at the car and check the sensor, and he basically said, yeah, he's got an open circuit over there, your sensor's at fault. So I then took it back to the garage that originally did the timing, and the guy, who was brilliant over there, he said, oh, he'll change it for free, because it's not exactly a difficult part to change. So he went and he changed that for free, put it back in, but the engine light did not go off. So told me there was still a problem. Anyway, after poking around, because I can never leave well enough alone when something's wrong, I found it's the camshaft solenoid valve. In fact, the area where the camshaft solenoid valve is located, which I couldn't find before, but now I know where it is, because I was looking on a few how-tos and managed to find it. The actual connector's broken, and without you can super glue it, but I don't like bodging stuff up when I can help it. I'm going to have to change the actual valve. So here it is. We went to we went to TPS today, and this is the valve. And what's happened on this valve, on the one that's in the car, is this connector here is broken off from the actual valve itself and is stuck in the connector. I'm going to show you in a minute. So let me show you how I run the codes first. So I'm going to do that with my laptop, which is down here. So I'm going to transfer to that and show you what's going on. Hold on. Another thing I want to mention before we finish this video is sometimes people ask me, oh, why do you do things yourself? Why don't you just pay someone to do it? It's so much easier. Yes, paying someone is easier, but for me, knowledge is far more important than money, because if you have the knowledge, you can make money. But if you don't have the knowledge and you only have money, then all you do is spend it. So that's why the way I look at things. Now, you know, I do a lot of these things on the side as a hobby, so I haven't got a qualification as such in them. But to name a few of the things, you know, I build PCs, software and hardware. So if you need something like that done, I can do that. For somebody who's IT competent, this is not a big job. Pretty straightforward, but it can be time consuming. But for somebody who doesn't know anything about PCs, it is pretty big. I also do a little bit of motor mechanics and electrics, but depending on the problem, if it's like the gearbox needs doing, or you have to change the transmission, whatever it is, I don't know, then I tend to leave that to professionals, because it's not that I don't know how to do it, it's just that I do not have the facilities or the equipment to attempt such a job. It's a big job, and I just can't do that by myself, so it's just easier to just pay someone to do it for me. So you kind of weigh up the situation. I also do my mobile DJing. Now, DJing online, which you might have seen some of my videos, is far different from DJing live. Now, I've got my mobile DJ equipment, so when I do go live in a proper venue, I've got my Yamaha DBR12, so they give out phenomenal sound. So I'm quite happy to, when everything goes back to normal, go out and play, which is what I used to do anyway. I also teach salsa dancing. Like I said, I've been doing it for a number of years now, I got to that stage because I used to compete in things like that, and I think 2003 we won the Tropicana Tropics Amateur World Championships in London. I was dancing with Sue at the time, so that kind of gave us a bit of a stepping stone, and then I went into teaching, and things just escalated from there, really. So I never thought I'd end up teaching, but that's what's happened, and I've been doing it now probably about 15 years or something like that. I can't remember, something like that. Anyway, it's been a long time. The other things I do is I recently got my PAT testing qualification, and that's not because I wanted to do PAT testing. It was just the fact that because I've got my mobile DJ equipment and other equipment, it was far easier for me to get the qualification, do the qualification, get the actual PAT tester, and carry out any PAT testing myself, so that when I go out and I DJ, I've got everything up to standard. And also, if I get any additional equipment, I don't have to pay anybody else to come in and do it for me, because I can do it myself. And that way I save on costs, and I've broadened my knowledge. I also do t-shirts. That's not making t-shirts, but I'm talking about putting logos or pictures or whatever it is you need on a t-shirt, or even a magnet or a mug, or pretty much any type of object I can do. Now, if it's a picture that you're after, that you want on a t-shirt, the process I use is sublimation. So unfortunately, you need to have a polyester t-shirt, and it needs to be white. That way I can put a photo onto your t-shirt. Okay, I have the facility to do that. I also do 3D printing, and I've been doing this a while. I'm not a 3D modeler, so most of the files I actually obtain are free, or they are bought. So for example, I'm working on a costume at the moment. Some people think it's hilarious. To me, you know, the way I look at it is I'm honing my skills, and the whole reason I'm working on this costume, and I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet, because I'll show you the completed version when it's done, is to buy this costume already done will cost you £3,000, and that is not even a proper one. Also, you cannot get it in my size. I think the costume that was for sale is for people between 5'8" and 6 foot. And finally, if you were to buy an official version of this costume, not a shitty version, then you would be looking at about £5,000, and they're very rare. So when I've done the costume, you can tell me what you think. I'm enjoying making it at the moment, but I won't be finished for another probably another 4 weeks, but we'll see. And the final thing that I do at the moment is binary option trading. Now, I saw a video the other day, and it was like, oh, don't waste your time with technical analysis, as it's a load of rubbish, blah 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 blah. You might have seen this on Facebook, and the way I look at it with that, it just makes me laugh, because I was going to put a reply up, and then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to even bother wasting my time, because people who say that have no clue, or they don't understand how technical analysis works. Okay, because what the guy was talking about, he was saying, oh yeah, you've got to concentrate on what's actually happening, and the buyers and the sellers, and you know what's really going on in the market. Yes, but that's what technical analysis is. if you understood that, that analysis tells you who is in the market. Okay, so I know you're saying about all the banks knowing this, that and the other, but if you understand the charts, understand what's going on, the information is there in front of you. Okay, it's there, but it's how you use it and how you see it from your own perspective. That's why when I trade, I mean, I was doing loads of binary option videos not so long ago, and I stopped doing them only because during the during COVID, when it got quite bad, not to say it's not bad now, but obviously it's better than what it was, the markets were not responding as they should, so I came out of it. But I've gone back into doing the markets again, because the markets do seem to be returning to their normal kind of patterns and stuff, so I'm back in there again, but I just haven't been making videos on it.